Hey, dude.
Water lights, like not bow lights.
Just light up the water around it.
Yeah. Like blue lights.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Keith here, Jesse on the camera, and tonight on the bench we have the Jetstream by ProBoat. We like to call it the Shreddy boat, death boat, whatever. Anyhow, we are going to do some much needed upgrades. If you guys remember the last video on it, we were driving it more on the ground than we were in the water. We went through our little creek area, and it was a little bit low. We still had some fun with it, bashing over the rocks. Actually, yeah, you can see how much fun we had with it there. So yeah, we're trashing it up pretty good. Held up great. Now, it does have a skid plate here and here. This is your hull in the middle, so some scratches, nothing really gonna hurt it. You really gotta smoke like the edge of a dock or a rock really hard to bust that. Not too worried. We actually have skid plates and another hull on order just for the lifetime of the boat, so we can actually party with it, not worry about carrying it too bad. But anyhow, let's talk about the reason we've got her back on the bench tonight. We are going to add the ProBoat stainless steel impeller and aluminum wear ring, part number PRB382001, the stainless steel impeller for the Jetstream. Now, in the back of the manual, remember, they have the parts list for the optional parts for this boat mixed in with the optional parts for the river jet. So just be careful. Watch the line items as you're going through, because this is the Jetstream and the river jet mixed together on that in the manual. So we noticed that when we were ordering the parts, we didn't order a bunch by accident we didn't need. And also, we're going to throw the aluminum stainless intake grate on the bottom, PRB381002. So far, that's the only mods available from the manufacturer. But we also have an order parts coming from Mad Lizard Components. I believe that is the name. We'll put a link in the video for it. Okay, so the Mad Lizard Components is a new tray that's going to hold your reverse servo, and it also has a mount behind here. Get my fat hands out of the way, but has a mount for a micro servo that we can do a controllable trim adjustment. Variable trim like the jet skis have, or whatever you want to call it, the variable trim. So that will help pitch the nose of the boat up or down depending on the water conditions, and we can still keep the reverse bucket option on there. But anyhow, that is for another time, another date. For today, we're going to take off this jet pump. We're going to pull out the stock impeller. We're going to see how much carnage that guy took blasting it through the sand and the mud. And I have a feeling it's probably a fairly resistant part. We might see fairly little damage, or it could be completely trashed. It was cavitating, which means sucking air through the pump not being efficient, and basically blowing foam out the back instead of water. So I know it was damaged. I do own a couple of jet skis, so trust me, I know when they're not running right. So, okay, that's enough talking. Let's get this guy pulled apart and show you guys the few steps it takes to take off the jet pump and service it. So, and also upgrade. Okay guys, so start from ground zero. I'm going to do this with the boat on the side so you guys can see just a couple quick tips while we're in there. Now you're going to want a quality driver. We're going to be rocking our Vanquish 1.5 millimeter today. It is all stainless steel screws in there, which are nice. They do have thread locker on them. You can use your soldering iron with a pencil tip to get in there to warm them up. If you have a good quality driver like a Vanquish or a MIP or something that is good quality, Dynamite is even really good quality. Just make sure it's not, you know, China stuff or completely worn out, or you're gonna have nothing but hard times. So you need to loosen this linkage here. You can see this linkage here and that right there. You see them? Boop. Take this off. what I'm going to do to take that off is probably just unscrew. I'm going to take this one off the bucket on the back because it is easily accessible if I just turn it to the forward down position. Now when you're moving the servo by hand with no power, it is safe to do, just do it slowly. Don't force it. Look at that. Look at that, it's still gonna work. Done. Now you can pull this linkage out right here, no problem. So really easy. The reverse bucket can be done from the outside. Just pick a pocket on our ProNoobRC Carbon Series screw catcher mat to keep everything organized. So we got the bucket freed up, that's cool. We have one more screw for the steering. Now you can get to it right from the top as long as your nozzle is completely straight. And all you gotta do is loosen the grub screw. You don't need to take it all the way out. And then you have one more right there. And that is the one that does the trim for the back of the bucket. It's static. You can actually loosen that and change it just on the fly for the day. You can drive around, see how it's going, pull it back, pull the cover off, loosen that, adjust it, and continue. It's pretty cool. That is adjustable factory, but we're going to make that live on the remote eventually. So anyhow, loosen that guy off. Okay, sorry, I did that out of frame. I just popped the bucket off. You can see it just hooks on those two tabs. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws all the way around that pump nozzle that need to come off. You can take off the lower... Nope, don't take that off. I lied. You cannot take off the ride plate. You don't want to get into that mess. There's no point. So you need to pull those, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, 8 screws off there. And then we can actually take out the... But you do need to take off this water line. And you'll notice on the brass fitting, which you also need to take off because there's a bolt right behind it we need to get out. There is a dot drilled into one of the flat sides. The dot needs to point to the back because the front of the tube is cut on an angle for water to get jetted into it for the cooling system. If you do not have that lined up properly, you will not have proper cooling, and we all know what that results in. Muddy loss. Okay, so hopefully we can... Yes, sir. 5mm dynamite nut driver slides right in there. Picked this set up for $17.99 off Amazon. And that's Canadian dollars, so whoo, that'd be cheap somewhere else. You can see the cut on the nozzle and the dot. So the dot corresponds right there, boop, to where it needs to point. So out the rear. 2mm screws for the rest of that pump. Let's get that guy out of there.
There you go.
It's just how you have to angle it. So okay. Okay guys, so we just realized pulling the pump out, it doesn't come straight out the back. You kind of have to kick it up on a bit of an angle and kind of wiggle it out. There is ribbing on the bottom of the underside of this swim board on the back, which catches that. So pretty easy, kind of finagle it in there, no problem. Nozzle side looks good, a little bit tore up, but nothing I can't clean up with the edge of a knife just to clean those. So I am actually fairly impressed. That pump is... Considering everything we drove it through, there seems to be... The weird thing you wouldn't expect is the top half of the wear ring is completely gapped out from the impeller, where the bottom 3/4 or 2/3, if you would, is nice and tight. So that's just kind of random how the top gets worn out. I guess the way that sucks the mud up, maybe pumps it through the top. But yeah, huge gap on the top of the impeller. I don't know if you can zoom in and see, but huge gap on the top of the impeller and the wear ring. Jet boats are like hence the name jet. So if there is any inefficiency with the tightness between the impeller and the wear ring, you're gonna have a bad day. Very nice.
That's really nice.
Yeah, definitely a nice piece. If you notice, it resembles like a screw thread. Basically, a boat propeller and a jet impeller are basically just a screw. The theory of propelling through water is like screwing yourself through water. I know it sounds weird, but say that right. So there we go. Like, that's the kind of fit you want, nice and tight, right? No gap for nothing. This guy doesn't sit all the way down there. He's gonna have a small little gap where he spins in there, but super efficient. Where if you look inside that guy, you can see next Tuesday through the top there. So anyhow, very nice piece. So to pull that shaft out, you need to come back up to the motor side, roll the motor over until you can get your grub screw or your lock set screw to the top. Okay guys, so to pull the motor shaft out, we are going to use some heat, and we're going to use our pencil tip on our soldering iron? Yeah. Pencil, soldering gun, whatever, soldering wand, to loosen up the Loctite on the motorboat. Now, stainless steel hardware is very soft. They use it so it doesn't rust and corrode, and it is Loctited. So with a bit of heat, we have it cranked up 800 kajoules or whatever it's at. And yeah, so we heat that up. Good quality Vanquish MIP, something good quality driver. Get in there, get it. I would almost prefer to do this with one of the older Dynamite spring steel ones, because those guys are great. You really crank it and then bink, pops free. It gets a little torque into the shaft. I unfortunately only have a set of those in standard, but I love it. Good set. She's stiff.
I'll turn this off.
Yeah. Okay. Easy po Jeezy. We got it. Okay. Now all you got to do is get a good set of needle nose pliers. We like to use these little Crescent mini. They look like flush cuts, but they're pliers. Grab that right by the nut. Don't grab it by the propeller, of course, and pull it out. Jesus. Did they not grease at factory? So you take the little bird nest out. We don't need that. I think we made like hemp here or something. Oh, yeah, we did, yeah. Definitely. Okay, so you want to clean all the bird nest and whatever hemp and whatever else you've created on your basher / jet boat. And you don't need to grab the shaft with a pair of pliers because it is a square shaft inside here, so you can just hold the propeller or impeller, fancy, sorry. Now the lock nut on the end of this, I'm only going to recommend that you use it a few times and then you think about swapping it out. I don't know if, yeah, they've given us a new one, so we're actually just going to use that once and be done with it. Every time you get a new lock nut, if you do try to reuse it, they're only good for so many times. So we want to check out everything underneath. So we have the impeller, a metal spacer, and the nylon bushing. We're going to take all those off, put them back with the old one, and with the kit they give you all new hardware, so we're going to throw that on. Now this guy is flat on one side and rounded on the other. Flat side is going to go on the shaft up. It was probably just stuck against the other one with a seal. That's hilarious though. Square hole washer. That's cool. Perfect. Everything fits up nice. Now, before I put that in there, I'm going to quickly grease the square shaft on the aluminum. The steel shaft on aluminum is going to be a high wear point. It is not a perfect fit, so a little bit of grease will go a long way. Okay guys, so as you know, we are CalRC guys through and through, but we are going to be using ProBoat's generic marine grease that they use for the boat. I guess it's not generic. We're going to be using a ProBoat's specific marine grade boat for the ProBoat boats. Boat. A couple more times in there. Does that work? Good. So we're going to do the shaft here. I want to do in between that little bushing. Get all four sides of the shaft. Some nice sticky marine grease. Put that guy in. Now be careful, you can cut yourself on this and you can bend it. Just make sure you're grabbing it in a way that you're not going to put any stupid pressure on it. I'm not saying you can bend it, I'm saying that you could if you really tried. That is done. That looks awesome. It just looks mean. I love it. Love it! Okay, we need to pop out the old damaged wearing. The best way to do that, since we're going to be changing our impeller grate, is to quickly yeet the old impeller grate on, pop that out from the back, and then swap that over. I'm going to grab a drill for that really quickly. Okay, so we got the bolts out of the bottom of the impeller grate, intake grate. Yeah. Oh, great, it's stuck. There we go. Okay, I lied. That's not going to make it any easier. That is a very nice... Oh, never mind. Right there. Ooh. There we go. Easy cheesy. You actually don't have to take the grate out. It's such a nice finish. You are going to want to take all the sand and debris and stuff out of here before rebuilding it, all the new parts. Some more bird nest in here. Especially in behind where this guy needs to seat. And also a little pro tip, put a little bit of grease on it. And that will just help hold it in place when you stick it in the hole. There we go. New impeller.
Nice.
No, new wearing. Wearing. Okay, so one thing, this boat didn't have much grease on the shaft, and like I said earlier, it is a straight shaft boat, so it does not require a lot. Where if this was a flex shaft boat, you pretty much have to take it apart and grease it every run, and that's one of the reasons we don't like boats. We like jet boats. Bashing jet boats. Okay, so now that's all done. There is a flat spot on the shaft right there. We'll stick it in and we'll show you how to make sure we get that lined up. There we go. Well, the intake grate's what holds the motor in, so when we took out the intake grate, we unbolted the motor. The more you know.
Dang.
Yeah, so anyhow, there is a small gap, small shaft gap between here. You can see when you're sliding that in, you can make sure you get your flat spot all lined up where it needs to be. There we go, flat spot upward direction. Perfect. Okay, but before we can continue, we need to actually replace the grate because we just learned that the grate holds the half the motor mount in, so to find the motor free when we flipped it over. So we're gonna quickly flip that guy back over and throw this dude in there. Woo! It's gonna be so nice to scratch that across the rocks.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna put a couple screws in it to hold it so we can finish this off and get Jesse out the door for work. Okay, so there is a slight gap between the boat hull and the shaft on the motor where you can see your flat spot. That's where you want to make sure you have it lined up as you slide it all the way in to its final home. And then as you tighten it down, we give it a couple wiggles. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of the first part of the video. The second half of the video will be a lot more exciting. We'll get this guy out in the water. Jesse's got to get out the door for work. We're going to pick this up with some outdoor footage tomorrow. I'm going to finish putting the rest of the hardware back in. I am going to slide the rest of the pump back on. I noticed the vanes on the pump are a replaceable part. There's a little tab right there. We could pop and take that out. Mine is a little tore up from pumping sewage and garbage and rocks through it. So I'm just going to actually clean up the damaged tips of the edge with a knife so we have good, equal, even flow running off of them, because the impeller and these vanes actually work together to give you the thrust out the back. So with these rough edges, that's going to give you cavitation. Cavitation is bad, so we're going to clean that up until we can get a replacement for that. I'm actually going to go check ProBoat's website and see if that is available yet. It might just be a whole pump housing, but we hope not. But anyhow, we'll see you guys in a few minutes. A few seconds, actually. We're going to get this guy outside, see them. Bye. Hey guys, what's up? Keith here. Let's get the boat in the water.
Watch your jet ski. Yes, it is.
Beached.
Hey guys, okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Now we're back to the lab with the boat. We want to go over two quick little things. One we missed in the beginning of the video, and that was setting the impeller shaft back up into the boat. You don't want to get it in too deep or else your impeller will bind into the wear ring. Now personally myself, I think that these shims in the back should be preset so it doesn't do that. We are going to find a shim that fits in there a little bit better. It's a quick fix. If you do set it too tight and put it all back together, you can loosen the set screw on the collet on the motor, and there is a gap about 6-7 mils there. You can get a skinny little pair of pliers. We got these Crescent branded little, look like flush cuts, but they're little micro needle nose. You can actually walk the shaft backwards just enough. You want to set it as tight as you possibly can, so just play with that until you get it as tight as you can, and you'll be happy with it. Second one is a small little tip that I got annoyed with getting cuts on my knuckles, because this sharp piece of molded plastic, these little fins, this little edge is razor sharp from the molding. Just take a quick piece of sandpaper, I got a sanding stick in my hand here, and just go over these edges back here, because you're working in this area and you know when your hands are wet, they're like tissue paper when it comes to sharp things. Anyhow, I think that's a wrap on the video. We will see you guys on the next one.